Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to VRL. And we are here tonight for two 25% races here around Britain. The first of those being your normal orientation of Silverstone, the second of them being of the reverse orientation. And we are here tonight, firstly, for our 18-minute qualifying session. My name is JP. I'm your commentator. A pleasure to be here, as always. And quite the prospected grid ahead of us tonight for this Silverstone qualifying. I did wonder if I just saw some raindrops potentially in the pit lane, but I don't think I do. The crowd is looking, the clouds are looking a little bit grey, but it doesn't look like anything that's really going to affect how this race is run. The Dude PS, normally the first man out on track. The first man out on track tonight here as well. 17 minutes to go of this qualifying session. And we are booked in for what hopefully will be a brilliant event. Now, you may notice, if you are a usual viewer of VRL, one of the Saubers is missing. No Lee here tonight, who has won many a race. A brilliant performance last time out in Spain saw him take victory. But with him not here tonight, I do find that'll be quite interesting. Hawkeye goes past the Dude PS, so it looks like he will be the first man to set a lap here. But like I say, two 25% races rather than your normal 50% race. I'm relatively sure as well that the grid is decided by this 25% race. So we've got the qualifying for, I guess, the sprint race around the normal orientation, and then the feature race, which is the reverse orientation. That grid is decided by the results of the first race. So Hawkeye goes on to his first lap of the ever-iconic Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. As many people will know, this track actually used as a World War II airway, a World War II airstrip back in the day, then converted into a Formula One racetrack, or, well, just a racetrack really. Saw Formula One's debut race here in 1950, and now here in 2025, 75 years later, we still race around one of the best racing circuits in the world. Medium speed corners, high speed corners, low speed corners. It is everything you would want in a racetrack. As we barrel into Copse Corner, one of the most dangerous corners in racing. Hawkeye managing to get through there very well. Track limit invalidations, as I say that, can be an issue, and Hawkeye proves that to us. The Dude PS has already invalidated. Furtos has not invalidated. I'm just trying to see who it is ahead of Furtos. I believe it was Hawkeye that's just ahead of him. So it looks like Furtos will be the first driver to set a lap, as the car ahead of Furtos dives into the pit lane. Rumbling over the curbs is the V-Carb. Has invalidated his lap, actually. So who's behind him? It's a Mercedes of 2B West, who will now be the first driver to set a lap and inevitably goes quickest with a 1 minute 28.2. And now we await all other cars across the line. 27.6 for Papa Rim, who now goes to the top of the timesheets as Alpine teammate Arctic Ryan now crosses the line. I believe he invalidated though. 2B West goes into P2 with a 1 minute 28. No, he set a lap first, so it would have been Tommy Turbo, sorry, who just crossed the line with a 1 minute 30.1. It's then Tortuguita, 2B West teammate, going into P3 with a 1 minute 28.4. Next across the line will be Emre Kirker. Really struggled last week out. Finished last place of all runners. But Emre Kirker looking to return to usual form for the Sauber team. And does exactly that. Goes to provisional pole with a 1 minute 27.4. Wise Wizard goes into P4 with a 1 minute 28.2. We've got Skyline in now P7 with a 29.4, as I believe C Brazil across the line to go P3 with a 27.6. Next driver to cross the line. I'm not 100% sure who this is going to be. Isn't Furtos, he's not on a lap. It doesn't look like it's going to be Arctic Ryan. He doesn't appear to be on a lap. Neither does Rassam. Flavor's in the first sector. The Dude PS, I believe, will be the next driver to set a competitive lap time. Tries to get all the slipstream he can from the back of the Alpine. And into Stowe we go with the V-carb. Now into the final chicane. Keeps it well away from the curbs. Looks like a good racing line. Is it quick though? Gets the power down. Car not complaining at all. And the Dude PS goes into P4 with a 1 minute 28.1. Furtos crosses the line with a 1 minute 53.1. I can assure you that is not a competitive lap time from him. XRL Flavor is was on a lap but has invalidated. Is anyone else going for a lap? It looks like Papa Rim maybe. Second lap on those soft compound tyres. The Alpine looking to push on with that double run strategy that we've seen many a time as we go into Brooklands with him. And and they're through Brooklands. A big moment for Papa Rim. Quite the unconventional place to have a moment through Brooklands, but I guess just getting a bit hungry on the loud pedal. And Papa Rim, that is going to be his second lap over very quickly. Currently sat in second with a 1 minute 27.6, 2/10 off of Emery Kirker, who currently leads this qualifying session. But that is not a good omen for the Alpine, if I have ever seen one. The Dude PS is still not on a lap either. Tortuguita looks like he is going for a lap as he swerves his way through Maggots and Beckett's and now makes his way onto the next straight and towards Stowe he will now come. Tortuguita for the Works Mercedes-Benz team that have struggled in these ground effect regulations, having their best year this year with a P2 finish in the Constructors' Championship. But I can assure you, Mercedes will not be happy with second place. A little bit of a moment there through the final corner for Tortuguita. Comes across the line, improves up to P5, but there is definitely time in that lap. Hawkeye has invalidated once more on his lap, as has Venom. XRL Flavor just coming through Maggots and Beckett's now, taking it very tentatively, is the Ferrari, and very wide through there, almost reminiscent of Carlos Sainz in 2022. He eventually went on to win that race, but definitely not the ideal racing line there as we go through Stowe. Just looks like quite a tentative lap from Flavor, who now decides to come into pit. That lap wouldn't have been good enough really for anything for him. Rassam has gone up to P2 with a 1 minute 27.5. So this session is a lot closer than we have become accustomed to here in VRL. It's normally the two Saubers absolutely running away with it out in front of Lee and Emery Kirker. But Emery, he's only got about a 1/10.5 to the car behind. He's on an out lap now, so will look to extend his lead over the rest of the field. But definitely not an opportunity for the Sauber to get comfortable just yet. Toby West for the Works Mercedes-Benz team is on a lap now. He currently finds himself in P8. Will definitely be looking to improve from there as Lee does join the session then. So one of our big hitters who we expected to be missing in this session has now arrived. And how is that going to change the complexion of this race and of this qualifying session? 9 minutes to go. Toby West a little bit wide there through Luffield. And I can assure you that definitely isn't the racing line he would have wanted to take as he now races through Copse. Just clips the gravel a little bit, but not nothing that's really going to harm his pace. Now making his way through Maggots and Beckett's, using all of the track he possibly can. A little bit of understeer through the final sequence there. He is a 1/10.5 up though. This would improve him at least one position. As you can see, the Dude PS and X-Furtos very close to each other. What of Toby West then? He needs a better final sector if he wants to continue with his pace. He makes his way through the final corner now then. Is the Mercedes-Benz driver able to improve? Currently 8th, goes up to P5 ahead of his teammate with a 127.9. A very good final sector from Toby West. and finds himself in P5. Arctic Ryan goes P7 with his latest lap. Emre Kirker is on his lap now and just making his way through Luffield. I think he was about a 10th and 3/4 up through that first sector. So what of Emre on the rest of this lap? Now making his way towards Copse Corner, using all of the outside curb. Just a little downshift, no sign of lifting off of the loud pedal, or loud pedal, should I say. Emre Kirker now through Maggots and Beckett's. A little bit of understeer, but it doesn't look like anything that will trouble him too much. And he now makes his way towards Stowe Corner. Gets it turned in nicely. A little bit of complaint from the rear end of the Sauber. Now gets it tipped in towards the final corner. It looks stable, but it looks a little bit like the Sauber's complaining. He does improve, and it's a big improvement. 3.5 improvement. Emre Kirker solidifies himself for the top of this qualifying session with a 1 minute 27.0. And that is exactly what Emre would want to see. His teammate Lee Dog right behind him now. On his outlap. Now, let's take a look. Who is on a lap? Hawkeye's on a lap. Venom, I believe, is just coming to the end of a lap. Currently with a 1:53.0. You'd hope he'd improve from that, and he does. Goes P8 with a 1 minute 28.0. Not a bad lap at all from the Haas driver. Hawkeye is just making his way through the second sector, as is XRL Flavor. Hawkeye towards Copse Corner, where he's invalidated once in this session. Manages to keep it on the track once more. And now through Maggots and Beckett's. Again, easy to invalidate through here. Now into Stowe with the Williams driver. Keeps it on track, so should be good for a lap here. Gets it tipped in to the final corner. Emre Kirker dives into the pits as Lee Dog now starts his lap. Hawkeye goes to P2 with a 1 minute 27.4. That is a great lap from the Williams driver. XRL Flavor goes into P7, and now we watch Lee. And this could be the turning point of this qualifying session as Lee Dog embarks on his first qualifying lap. I don't normally do this, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm going to go quiet. Let's just revel in the mastery of the Silverstone circuit. Here comes Lee then, round the final corner. What sort of lap time is it? It's a 1 minute 27.2. He just goes behind Emre Kirker by about 0.2 of a second. But it is what we've become accustomed to here in VRL. Sauber 1-2. Furtos went up to P3 during all of that and is cutting all the corners he can to try and make his way back to the pit lane in time, as is the Dude PS. Tortuguita is currently on his lap, is just coming through the final sector. Is this improvement for the Mercedes? Currently P12, improves ahead of his teammate, goes into P11. Skyline looks like he's on a lap, currently 16th and last with a 1 minute 29.3. Is there improvement in it for the McLaren driver. It is improvement, only by 78 milliseconds. It's a 29.2 for Skyline, and we'll definitely look to want to improve from that. Lee looks like he's going to stay out and continue on this set of tyres, which could benefit Emre Kirker. Is Tommy going onto a lap? It doesn't look like it. Lee is just opening up his lap now then. So this could be the lap of the weekend. It's the lap of the weekend for Lee. He needs this to be a good one. Here we go then with the Sauber driver racing towards turn 1 using a lot of the overtake button into turn 1. Car looking a little bit unstable, but nothing that he will complain about too much as we go into turn 3 and now turn it all the way right to swing it into turn 4. That looked a little bit lazy from the Sauber. That didn't particularly look quick. DRS now opens as down the straight we go. Is it improvement in the first sector? He's 52 milliseconds down, is Lee. And when he needs over a 0.2 improvement realistically, because we know Emre will probably improve, this is going to have to be a massive final 2 sectors. Towards Copse Corner comes the Sauber now then. Little downshift. The car looks stable as we now make our way towards Maggots and Beckett's. This is where you can gain so much time and lose so much time. And Lee looks to be gaining as he makes his way now down the next straight. The DRS opens. He's 2, but nearly 3 tenths up. He's got a car ahead of him that needs to get out of the way as he makes his way into Stowe Corner. Is the Williams going to get out of the way? It is. Luckily for Lee, now making his way into the final chicane. It looks fast. It looks tight. It looks neat. Is it quick? Lee comes to the line now, and it is provisional pole by just a few milliseconds. He lost time in that final sector, but Lee Dog goes to provisional pole. But crucially, Emre will be able to reply. Wise Wizard is currently on a lap, as is Hawkeye, as is Rassam. Well, Rassam's just going onto his lap now. Papa Rim's also on a lap. C Brazil's on a lap. Everyone is on a lap here, bar Lee and the dude PS. So this is where it really starts to count. And Wise Wizard is just making his way through Maggots and Beckett's. He is the man that will be the first of the top 5 to set a lap. He makes his way through Stowe now. And into the final chicane we go. Is it improvement for Wise Wizard? He's demoted by Venom, who goes to P4. Who will get the chance to reply. Wise Wizard goes back to P4 with his latest lap. Now we look to Hawkeye, who's invalidated. Furtos will get another lap. Let's go on board, though, with Emre Kirker, who is now in pursuit of his teammate for pole position. He only needs a few milliseconds to improve on his teammate's lap. And this is the lap of the weekend for Emre. Through Maggots and Beckett's we go. It looks a little bit messy on the exit there from Emre Kirker. He's 5 milliseconds up on his lap. So he needs a lightning final sector if it is to be provisional pole position. He makes his way now towards the final chicane. Is it going to be Emre? Is it going to be Lee? Emre Kirker now through the final corner. Gets the power down. Is it there for Emre? Yes, it is. By 2 milliseconds, Emre Kirker takes pole position here in Silverstone. What a dramatic end to qualifying. So it's Emre Kirker on pole by 2 milliseconds from Lee. Papa Rim will line up 3rd with X-Furtos in 4th. Wise Wizard is 5th with Rassam in 6th. Venom 7th with Hawkeye in 8th. C Brazil 9th. XRL Flavor rounds off the top 10 with Arctic Ryan in 11th. The Dude PS in 12th with Tortuguita in 13th. 2B West in 14th. and Tommy Turbo in 15th, with Skyline failing to see the end of this qualifying session. But for Emre Kirker, 2 milliseconds is all he needed. 1 minute and 27 seconds of a tour around the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, and 2 milliseconds is all that could separate the Saubers. Well, there's your qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. We are in prospect for a brilliant race. The top three, all within a tenth of each other. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. The Grand Prix is up next. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. Formation lap time. And these drivers embark on their formation lap of this Silverstone circuit. Interestingly enough, Emre Kirker on the soft compound tyres, Lee on the mediums. So the start looks like it's going to be crucial for this race. Can Emre try and run away with this one? There are your possible race strategies for the soft runners. Looks like it will only be a one stop, with it being a 25% race, of course. And Emre lines up on his pole position slot. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. We just await those 5 red lights. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. 5 red lights ahead of the drivers for the British Grand Prix. And it is lights out, and away we go. Emre Kirker gets away well on the soft compound tyres and immediately covers off Lee into turn 1, who has also got a very good start. Wise Wizard already challenging away with Rassam. Rassam sending it up the inside. The Haas is also involved as well. There's an Aston Martin off the track. We've got carbon fibre confetti flying all over the place in the midfield. I think the Haas was one of the drivers to get damage. He was. You can see the end plate going off there as the Ferrari and V-Carb run wide, and the Dude PS looking to get a run on the Alpine. Is he going to be able to sneak up the inside? He's going to give it a go as the Haas is losing ground to the Aston Martin, who's got damage up the inside of Luffield. Looks the Dude PS, and the Aston Martin on the outside. That's Wise Wizard getting past Venom as they are now wheel to wheel as we go towards Copse Corner. Is Venom going to try and sneak it up the inside? He just has to back out, but the Dude PS goes straight through on the pair of them. Arctic Ryan and Venom lose out, and the Dude PS says thank you very much. I'll be taking both of those positions, and he moves through into 8th place. Great racing from him, but out in front, Emre Kirker still leads. Lee Dog is well with him though, although has used a lot more battery. XRL Flavor manages to get past Venom, and that damage for Venom is really costing him time. Is he going to dive into the pit lane? He is, and that damage was really affecting him there as we see C Brazil going off into the pit lane entry. There's damage to that Aston Martin. Venom got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pits, and C Brazil, I don't know if he was trying to come in the pits or not, but definitely will be now. Emre Kirker has really dropped Lee here as we have got a virtual safety car, so that might explain why that gap was so large so quickly. It looks like it's going to even itself out as the virtual safety car sorts itself out, but the top 3 really have ran away from the rest of the pack. Venom gets a drive-through penalty as well for speeding under the virtual safety car. That's going to harm his race even more after pitting for damage and then getting the 10-second time penalty. Lee looks to maybe not have had the greatest safety car restart. Emre most certainly has. Paparim still on the back of them, just over a second behind, as we now come through the final corners to begin lap 3 of 13 of this British Grand Prix. And it's Emre that leads, from Lee Dog in second, Paparim in third with Exfertos in fourth, Rassam in fifth, Hawkeye in sixth with Wise Wizard in 7th place, the Dude PS in 8th, Arctic Ryan 9th with Tubi West in 10th, Tortuguita in 11th, Tommy Turbo up to 12th with XRL Flavour in 13th. A bit of damage on the front end of that Ferrari, and the two Saubers seem to be very close as we race towards Brooklands. Is there an opportunity for Lee to try and get down the inside? He just needed a little bit more straight line or straight line speed to be able to make that move, but he is really putting pressure on Emre very early in this race when we expected Emre to run away with it because of the tyre advantage. But here we go then into Cop's corner. Lee just putting Emre under some pressure, letting him know he's there. Had to back out of it into Cops, didn't want to take the risk, but Lee is really putting Emre under pressure. Emre with a lot more battery, but Lee will have the DRS, and a bit of a moment there on the exit of Magus and Beckett's for Emre Kirker. So here comes Lee then to the outside line of Stowe. He is forced. Is he able to get it around the outside? Emre brakes later because he's got the better grip on the softs, but round the outside Lee roars and he makes his way up into the lead. As we've got a yellow flag, I believe that might have been for one of the Mercedes cars, as we've got a car in the pits. That's the Dude PS. The Mercedes still seem to be running all good for the time being, but Lee Dog now roars into the lead of the British Grand Prix, as we've got another yellow flag. That's for XRL Flavour, who's made his way off the track and has even more damage on the front end of that Ferrari now. Slows down to let the McLaren through, and XRL Flavour really very slow with that damage. You can see the extent of it there. That is not what you want to see, and it's surely not what the Tifosi want to see. Lee already pulling a bit of a gap on Emre through this first sector, and Emre is going to have to deploy some of that battery to try and stick with him. It does look like Emre is falling out of the DRS though. Lee's used his ERS, so has Emre, and it's all going to come down to just a few milliseconds, but Emre isn't going to get the DRS. So surely Paparim now is going to have a good chance of trying to get through on the Sauber driver. This start has not worked out well for Emre Kirker. Lee already beginning to run away with this. Emre off the track he goes, you can see, and already into the pit lane on lap 3. Emre Kirker, the question is, where is he going to come out? It's the hard compound tyres that he decides to go on. And it looks like he's going to come out in 11th place. So a lot of work to do for Emre Kirker. Makes his way out the pit lane. You'd imagine he will undercut Lee, but he will have that traffic that he'll have to get past. Lee continues on in the lead. 2 seconds is his gap to the Alpine behind him. Exfertos has got Hawkeye for company as we race down into Cop's corner. A little bit wide there from Hawkeye. And there you can see Rassam, his teammate, manages to get through. Whether that was coordinated or not, it maybe looked a little bit coordinated. And Rassam now is left to chase after Exfertos. Hawkeye with barely any battery, Rassam with barely any battery, X-Fertos with plenty of battery. As we see Wise Wizard, Arctic Ryan, Tortuguita and Tommy Turbo, all the soft runners, all running in sync. Wise Wizard into the pits, Arctic Ryan into the pits, Tortuguita into the pits, Tommy Turbo, the only one of them that stays out. So these soft tyres really seem to be struggling, and that will help Emre Kaka. He will get straight past them. He won't have to overtake them on track, which will be absolutely perfect for him. We'll look at the gap to leader quick. 26.6 seconds is the gap from Emre to Lee. And like I say, you'd imagine that Lee will undercut, will undercut Lee, but Lee will have much, much fresher tyres to the end of this race. He's just got to get it in that sweet spot of not pitting too early where his tyres will die out, but not pitting too late as to where he doesn't have enough laps to overtake him. Paparim continues on in second. It is Rassam still in third. X-Fertos in fourth place. Is he going to be able to try and make a move back up into the podium places? He's draining that overtake button. He's got the DRS. Towards Stowe Corner we go. Just not close enough. Runs a little bit wide in his pursuit of him. And they're both diving into the pit lane. Rassam, it looks like X-Fertos trying to get through on the inside, and both of them have picked up a 10-second penalty. Rassam trying to defend in the pit lane, X-Fertos trying to overtake in the pit lane, and both of them coming off worse. And Hawkeye will be grinning in the cockpit of that Williams as he's surely just been gifted 2 positions completely for free. Emre Kaka sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 29.7. He comes out ahead of Rassam and Fertos, now up into 4th place. How much has that gap come down? Now 25.5 seconds, so it's coming down at about a second a lap, I believe, or maybe 5/10 a lap. Lee still very comfortably leading this race. Paparim still very comfortably running in second. He is losing time to Lee out in front, who now dives into the pit lane, gets it nice and slow down to make sure that he doesn't get a penalty. Paparim continues on and will lead the British Grand Prix. Lap 8 of 13 of this British Grand Prix. Lee makes his way into the pit box. It's soft compound tyres for Lee. Emre Kaka just coming through the final corner. And I think this is going to be closer than people will have expected. But Emre will get that position as Lee now can get on the loud pedal. Emre Kaka goes through the gap just over a second. So very, very close. And on much better tyres is Lee. He will be getting the DRS next time around. And look how much he's gaining, even on the cold tyres. The hard compound tyres just do not look like the optimal tyre to be on in this race. And Emre Kaka is surely going to be a sitting duck down this next straight. He's got more battery, which may end up saving him, but Lee is going to have so much pace through Maggots and Beckett's and just pull that gap even closer. And you can see the gap just half a second as we make our way to the next DRS zone. Paparim comes into the pits from the lead. Hawkeye will now lead this race. Emre does manage to stay ahead into Stowe Corner. Running a little bit wide there is Lee in his pursuit of Emre, but this battle is far from over. The only thing is, Lee will have to try and nurse those tyres to the end. So through they go then, up into second and third respectively, as Papa Rim dives into the pits, makes his way out, should be ahead of Rassam, and is comfortably ahead of Rassam in fourth place. And look how close Lee is to the back of Emre. This is surely going to be an easy move. Emre comes over to push him as far to the inside as he can go, but Emre, a sitting duck, has to give up the position, and Lee Dog moves into the net lead of the race once more. Hawkeye will, you would expect, come into the pits at the end of this lap. And Emre now, he's just going to have to try and stick with Lee, but it's going to be a very difficult task to do so. He has got plenty more battery and will get the DRS though, so could be in a position to re-overtake, given he gets a good exit. It's not a great exit. Lee gets a better one. He's draining the ERS is Emre, but so is Lee. And nothing doing for Emre. Hawkeye does make his way into the pits, so Lee will continue on in the lead of the British Grand Prix. Emre Kirker will be running in second place. Papa Rim will be running in third. Rassam fourth with Exfertos in fifth, as Lee sets the new fastest lap of the race. They get the tyres on to Hawkeye's car, and he will now emerge from the pit lane. Emre Kirker still in the DRS of Lee, but just not close enough to try and do anything with the opportunity. Emre still just about in the DRS, but has used all his battery, as has Lee. But you would expect this will be the lap where Lee takes command of this one. And with what will be 3 laps to go of this British Grand Prix, Lee surely has this all under control, unless those tyres drop off, and drop off massively. Lap 11 of 13, Papa Rim continues on in third. Rassam is in fourth place with Exfertos in fifth. Hawkeye is in sixth place and is very close to the back of Exfertos and Rassam, who obviously both have those 10-second penalties, so will get through on them anyway. Wise Wizard is right on the back of Hawkeye, but Hawkeye on much better tyres, you would imagine, will be able to pull away. Wise Wizard continues his pursuit. Hawkeye really is gaining on the back of Exfertos. Doesn't actually need to overtake him, as we've got a yellow flag. I believe that's for XRL Flavour, who is running all good. Doesn't have any damage on the front of that Ferrari anymore, so should be all good for now. Closest battle on track currently between 2B West and Tommy Turbo. 2B manages to get through into Maggots, but Tommy will have the DRS. And a little bit of a poor exit there for 2B. Doesn't have much battery either to defend with, and the McLaren surely, yes, does go straight through. The Mercedes does have damage on the front end as well. And Tommy gets through into 11th place. Tortuguita is right on the back of Arctic Ryan. Both of them the same lap old tyres. Tortuguita with a little bit more batteries. Arctic Ryan tries to put the power down. Uses the ERS to try and get away. But Tortuguita is strapped to the back of that Alpine. Now with DRS, is there an opportunity for him to try and get past? It doesn't look like it. Into Brooklands. And the Mercedes will just have to sit behind for the time being. Great helicopter shot here. Showing us the battling. An incredible action. Hawkeye looks to be gaining right on the back of Furtos. Was very close into Cops. Just not able to make a move. But surely will be able to make a move down this next straight. Just not able to find a way past, and this is going to be harming Hawkeye's race. There might have been a chance he'd be able to get towards the back of Papa Rim, but we are now on the last lap of this British Grand Prix, and Lee has had a brilliant race out in front. Tommy Turbo has retired. Is that on track towards the pit wall? It is. That's a big crash for Tommy Turbo. But Lee Dog, as he comes towards Cop's corner for one final time, we know whenever this man is on track that he has got a great chance of winning. And Lee, just a couple of tours through Maggots and Beckett's, just needs to make sure he doesn't pick up any sort of unnecessary penalty. Emre pushing the life out of that Sauber, but there's nothing he can do. Lee, with a stonking lap in qualifying, was only 2 milliseconds off, but the strategy is what's paid dividends here, and Lee Dog, a master of strategy calls, we are coming to know him, comes round the final corner, and the first race of the weekend goes to Lee then. He wins the British Grand Prix. It's Emre Kirker who will finish in second place, and it's Papa Rim who will come home for third. A greatly executed strategy from him as well. Rassam finishes on fourth on track, but that particular honour will go to Hawkeye. It will be Wise Wizard who finishes in fifth place, and it will be Rassam who finishes sixth, with Tortuguita in seventh, Arctic Ryan in eighth, Ex Furtos finishes ninth, with the Dude PS in 10th, to be West 11th, with VRL Brazil coming home for 12th. Venom will finish in 13th place as he rounds the final corner with a massive moment. XRL Flavour comes across the line just ahead of the McLaren behind. And that was an outstanding British Grand Prix. And now we have a reverse race to look forward to. So there are your results then for the main Grand Prix, ladies and gentlemen. Do not go anywhere. The reverse race is up next. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. Formation lap time for the reverse orientation of the British Grand Prix. Tommy Turbo will start from pole position with Venom in second place. It will be Skyline who is in third. You can see the grid on the left-hand side of your screen. And the ones to really look out for, you would imagine, will be the guys at the back. The likes of Lee, Emre, Papa Rim, Hawkeye, Wise Wizard Rassam. That will be coming through the order, trying to get themselves up. And the two Saubers really slowing down at the back. I'm not entirely sure if this is allowed in the rules of VRL. This is definitely more than a car's length behind the rest of the field, but the Saubers evidently doing what they want to do, and this is going to provide them with a real advantage on the opening lap. That is for sure. As Tommy Turbo is making his way towards Brooklands, Lee and Emre are just coming out of Maggots and Beckett's. To the inside goes Lee of Cops, and maybe just trying to scare his teammate a little bit into knowing what's going to happen in this race. Lee throws it down the inside of Cops on the formation lap, and maybe a little bit of mind games going on between the two Saubers already, as they now form back up, as we've got again a massive gap here with the Dude PS actually starting that gap, as he slows everyone down behind him. And that's caused the two Saubers to catch up, who now slow themselves right down again. And as Tommy Turbo lines up in pole position, Lee is just making his way through, I believe, turn 3. Venom has been disqualified for an illegal parking manoeuvre. So definitely watch out for Skyline at the start of this race. We could be running with a McLaren 1-2 down into turn 1. Emre's really dropped off the back of Lee, so Emre will really have the advantage starting this race. Tommy Turbo has been sat there for a long time. Emre slots into his P15 slot then. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, for the start of the reverse British Grand Prix. So here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. 5 red lights ahead of the drivers. And they weren't held for long, but it's lights out and away we go. And Skyline does get a good start. So does Venom though. And Venom up the inside. Runs it a little bit wide though. And Skyline now to the outside. Is it a potential McLaren 1-2? They make their way through. Venom off onto the grass he goes. And it is a McLaren 1-2. Here at the reverse British Grand Prix. 2B West makes his way up into third. Now looking round the outside as Emre Kirker already up to 9th place. Lee Dog just getting up into 15th. So not an ideal start for the Sauber. He has also got damage, has Lee. Emre Kirker already up into 9th. There's one of the McLarens going widely. Emre also has damage to his front end. And Skyline running very wide through Maggots and Beckett's. There's no damage to that car, but he's gotten out of the way and he's now all the way down in last place. Was running in second. 2B West now leads. It's Venom in second as Tommy Turbo very wide, losing a lot of positions. Emre Kirker already up to 7th place. This is massive for the complexion of this race, with Lee Dog only just in 14th. Emre Kirker up to 7th and already hounding pressure on Arctic Ryan for 6th. He just has to back off through there, does Emre. But this is brilliant stuff on the opening lap. Even with the damage on the front end of that car, he is showing that he has got pace. As we end lap 1 and begin lap 2 then, it's 2B West that leads, from X-Fertos in second and the Dude PS in third. Venom runs 4th with VRL C Brazil in 5th. Arctic Ryan in 6th. And both of the Saubers into the pit lane. And this is going to harm Lee Dog because they're going to double stack. So both of the Saubers making their one and only pit stop immediately. And there's not going to be, well, there's going to be a massive gap between them. You can see here, Lee is really getting held up as the front wing is changed on Emre Kirker's car. He goes onto the hards. The pit crew running around now finally lift that car up and get to work. Lee does not change his front wing. Emre does. So is that the crucial part of this race? He still managed to get out ahead of Lee because obviously they're on the same team. So Lee emerges way behind Emre Kirker. And this is massive for the complexion of this race. 12 seconds behind Emre now. And surely this is now in favour of Emre Kirker. The two V-carbs pushing each other through the next corner. The dude PS, who has really struggled with some bad luck recently, looking to try and finally revert that luck and get himself up into a better spot. Still running in third place for the time being. X-Fertos currently running in second, about a second off of 2B West, so won't be getting the DRS. Arctic Ryan, I believe that was, getting a 10-second penalty in the pit lane. It was indeed. The dude PS there with a massive snap on the rear end, and that will help Venom as he gains towards the back of the V-carb. The dude PS using his ERS button to make sure that didn't harm him as much as it would have done. But 2B West, I must admit, does look very comfortable in the lead of this race for the time being. He's got both V-carbs right behind, and then Venom is also closing in as well. As Arctic Ryan and Hawkeye emerge out of the pit lane, Emre Kirker's ahead of them. Lee Dog will not be. He is really running in last place in this race. And with that damage, it is not going to be easy for him. But if he changed the front wing, he would have been there even longer. So for Lee's sake, we hope that that damage is not affecting him as much as you would expect. 5.5 seconds to the car ahead of him. And this is looking to turn to a bleak day for Lee. From the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. Tubi West still leads as we begin lap 4. We've got the dude PS and Venom off into the pit lane. So it's X-Fertos that runs in second. C Brazil now in third with Wise Wizard in fourth place on the soft compound tyres. Looking to make them work well and try and get past his teammate. Is the grip still there on the soft compound tyres? That's the question. He's got the DRS. He's got the battery enabled. Is there an opportunity for a move? It doesn't look like it, and there isn't, as Emre Kirker sets the fastest lap of the race. Will now be in, I believe, 11th place as those cars come out of the pits. Or actually, it doesn't look like he's going to get ahead of them. As we look at the track map, no, he will be behind Venom and the dude PS. So some overtaking to do for Emre Kirker. Here comes Wise Wizard to the outside of Luffield. He is forced a little bit of contact between the two Aston Martins. But they are running very in sync, and Papa Rim is right behind them. Papa Rim obviously finished on the podium in the last race as 2B West and Rassam come into... not Rassam, sorry. X-Fertos. 2B West and X-Fertos come into the pit lane. Skyline picks up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And it's the two Aston Martins running 1 and 2 then. But Papa Rim will definitely want to put a stop to that as quickly as possible. He looks very close. The soft tyres look to be dying off. Although I say that, C Brazil is on the mediums. just looks like the DRS was saving C Brazil, but Papa Rim roars around the outside of Luffield and into Brooklands we go, and Papa Rim moves up into second place and looking like a great contender to potentially win this one. You'd imagine Wise Wizard will come into the pits at the end of this lap. And that is exactly what he's doing. So Papa Rim will now lead. C Brazil continues on in second place. Crucially, will Wise Wizard get out ahead of the likes of Emre Kirker, Venom, Furtos? It looks like Furtos is going to go through. He is, as is the likes of Emre Kirker. So Wise Wizard will have to overtake the Sauber if he wants to. Rassam still runs in second place. Tommy Turbo in fourth as well. Both of them yet to pit off the softs. And you can see the lack of grip there for the McLaren driver running off the road through Copse Corner. And definitely looking like it's time to come into the pit lane if you are still running the softs. Only two of them on the softs at the minute. But they definitely look a bit worse for wear. That is for sure. C Brazil right on the back of Rassam now, running a little bit wide there though was C Brazil, and he does have some damage, does the Aston Martin, which I didn't notice. Tortuguita has left this session, and C Brazil now diving into the pits. Rassam continues on the soft compound tyres, so definitely a bit of a weirder strategy from Rassam. Will it work for him? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, some technical issues there with my headset. 2B West is battling away with the Dude PS. The Dude PS on the hard compound tyres, really scrapping away as Tortuguita manages to get back in the session. That is always what you want to see. Lee Dog still running down in 16th place. He's a lot closer to other runners. Tommy Turbo just 1.8 seconds up the road. But Lee Dog having a torrid day out in this second race. Meanwhile, Emre Kirker runs in 6th as Rassam finally comes into the pits then. Now, what is the gap to leader for Emre? It's 3.8 seconds. That is definitely doable, I must say. So is there a chance that Emre can try and come back from this, even with the pit stop, to change his front wing? Is he able to try and get onto the podium? He's right behind Venom at this moment in time. Although Venom is right behind Furtos, and that DRS is so crucial. The Dude PS runs in second, and he's right behind 2B West. And a great showing from the Dude PS here today, after struggling with some bad luck in recent races. The Mercedes continues to lead, and it is the two RBs in second and third, although Venom and Emery Kirker are right behind Furtos in fourth and fifth place. Here comes Venom then. Is there a chance to maybe try and get through on the inside? It's not the easiest opportunity to try and overtake at, and he just has to sit behind for the time being. And so here we can see Venom just thinking about a move down the inside, has to back out of it on the V-carb. We're on lap 9 of 13 as the Dude PS and 2B West still battle away. Is there an opportunity for the Dude PS? He holds it down the inside, but nothing doing for him. He's got the DRS and the ERS though. Is this the opportunity that he needed? He now makes his way around the outside, now to the inside. 2B West picks up a 3-second time penalty, and the Dude PS now leads the British Reverse Grand Prix. 2B West will look to fight it back towards Copse Corner, but there's just not enough grip to do so. He has to back out of it. He goes onto the grass. Now with the DRS though, the Dude PS forces him towards the outside line. Is he able to brake late enough? He isn't, but now looks for the switchback through Luffield, and towards Brooklands we go. And the Dude PS manages to continue on in the lead, but this is a great battle between these two. Meanwhile, Venom has dropped behind Emery Kirker as Furtos continues on in third, but the Dude PS now leads the Reverse British Grand Prix. And if there is really any driver that I am rooting for in this race, it has got to be him. He has been compounded with bad luck. He's been compounded with issues. But finally leading a race, and with 3 laps to go, we're on lap 10 of 13. He leads, and 2B West behind not only has a penalty, but appears to be struggling on those medium compound tyres as we've got a safety car deployed. Now, what is that for? I cannot tell. But I'll tell you who this really is going to help. It's come a little bit too late for Lee, who actually came into the pits again. XRL Flavor gets a drive-through for speeding under the safety car. But this will really help the likes of Emery Kirker, who was close enough to the back of Furtos, but then would have had to gain another 3 seconds to get to the likes of 2B West and the Dude PS. But will we see any of the leaders come in? This will help Lee as well, who will be right with the pack once more. Unless that safety car comes in very, very quickly. He is quite far away from the rest of the pack, is Lee. Arctic Ryan emerges from the pits in 14th place. But I am very interested to see whether any of these leaders dive into the pit lane. The Dude PS will be the first man to make that call, and sometimes that can be the nerve-wracking bit, is if you come into the pits, you don't know what the rivals are doing behind. The Dude PS stays out. 2B West also stays out. Furtos also stays out. Emre stays out. Wise Wizard stays out. Venom's coming into the pit lane. XRL Flavor is coming into the pit lane. Rassam stays out. Hawkeye's coming in. C Brazil is coming in. Tortuguita is staying out. And then you'd imagine the likes of Tommy, Ryan, Skyline and Lee will all stay out then. Now the question is, Venom, who has pitted for the softs, will be the highest soft runner on the grid. Where will he come out? It's going to be in 10th place. So will he have enough time to make those soft tyres work? I'd imagine we'll have 2 or 3 laps of racing once this safety car goes in. And the person this is really going to hurt is 2B West, who has that 3-second penalty. As things stood, he would have been finishing second. As things stand now, he'll be finishing down in 7th. You'd imagine the hard tyre running cars will probably be in the best position apart from the guys on softs, because the mediums haven't looked great in this race. Lee still using his overtake to try and catch up, and the safety car's in this lap, so it will not help Lee. There's still a lot of cars that need to catch up to this train. I do think this has been called a lap too early, to be completely honest. As you can see, Hawkeye is yet to catch up. He's in 11th, so we've got 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th, all yet to catch the safety car. Now the question is, if you're the dude PS, when do you decide to go under this safety car? He's going immediately, he's going now, and he's got a good restart. He is already 5/10 clear of 2B West as we begin lap 12, and we've got 2 laps of racing to the end of this race. Keep your eyes on Emre Kirker. He's up there. XRL Flavour gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pits. 2B West already looking to attack the dude PS, who now comes through Stowe, and we go on to the first straight. 2B West draining his overtake, as is the dude PS. The dude PS switches it off. And they're both on about the same battery. Emre Kirker really using his battery in pursuit of X-Furtos. And this is going to be a thrilling climax to the end of this race. Emre Kirker right behind X-Furtos as we go through Cops. And X-Furtos running very, very wide there. Is there an opportunity opening up for the Sauber? Towards Brooklands we go. He just has to back out of it as 2B West and X-Furtos go wheel to wheel through Luffield and now through Brooklands. X-Furtos just has to sit behind. Emre Kirker still sat behind them, and Papa Rim's also involved in that fight as Wise Wizard is right on the back of him. Rassam is looking to the inside of the Aston Martin. Very good clean racing between them. Rassam tries it back down the inside. Doesn't look like he's going to have the grip there, and Wise Wizard remains in 6th place. But this is getting very scrappy out of the front. But for the dude PS, who now starts the final lap, he is 1.3 seconds clear. And is the dream slowly starting to be realised? He has one tour of this infamous circuit left, and he can call himself a Grand Prix winner. Emre Kirker still runs in 4th. It doesn't look like he'll be a threat. 2B West giving it everything with his battery to try and get back in the DRS, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. And the V-Carb man, who has been plagued with bad luck and plagued with incidents in the last few races, is finally going to get his share of good luck. He is finally going to see his talent take him to the top step of the podium when nobody thought it was true. We came here today expecting Sauber dominance as Papa Rim manages to get through on Emre Kirker, and Emre now falls to 5th. Lee Dog still in 16th place. But for the dude PS, it is the dream here in Silverstone. Everyone wishes to win the British Grand Prix, and the dude PS is about to realise that dream. He has just got a few mere corners to go in this one now, and he can call himself a Grand Prix winner. He makes his way through the next left-hander. He'll get the throttle down for one final time. The dude PS finally gets his share of luck and wins the reverse British Grand Prix in one of the most fairy tale stories you could ever tell in league racing. X-Furtos finishes in 2nd place with Papa Rim in 3rd. It's Emre Kirker who will finish in 4th with Wise Wizard in 5th. 2B West finishes in 6th place with Hawkeye in 7th. Tortuguita in 8th. VRLC Brazil in 9th. It's Tommy Turbo in 10th with Rassam 11th. Venom in 12th. Arctic Ryan 13th with XRL Flavour 14th. Skyline will come home in 15th place, having a moment through one of the final corners, and Lee Dog, a torrid torrid day out in the reverse race. Won the initial race, dead last in the next one. It looks like he might be pushing on for fastest lap, but the grip just does not look there for him. And Lee comes across the line then. 16th and last place. He does get the fastest lap of the race on the final lap, so he's got that little consolidation point. But that is your reverse race over. That is your event over, ladies and gentlemen. And have we been treated to some brilliant action? The Dude PS, take a bow, my friend. What a victory. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There are your results for the Reverse British Grand Prix. And if you ever wanted a feel-good race, that is it. V-Carb 1-2 and the Dude PS finally gets his luck. Well, thank you everybody for watching. If you are new, do subscribe to the VRL YouTube channel. We are live every Tuesday. And my name has been JP. It's been a pleasure to be here, as always. And as always, from me to you, take care.